yeah, that's homemade right there. You know, see that ginger food? Yeah, that's the fresh one. Yeah. You know, I mean, I think it's on my back. Ooh, that's that good pour, boy. That's that good pour right there. Look at it. Yeah, that's that good drink. Yeah. Woo. Yeah, right, we good. Yeah. Too excited, man. Let's do the preaching. All right. Let's do this. This will be your cup, by the way. This is your cup. You make it today. All right, my bad. Walk around this whole setup. I brought the cups.
All right.
This is my favorite Jamaican cup.
Nice to wear it. Bring down my dick. Let me tell you that. If I could create a space more often, this would be it.
I appreciate it.
A quick cipher.
And I do a great job here.
And a quick cipher, real quick. Reflect on your day. Bring it down.
Yeah.
Go to sleep.
And I mean, for me, it's important. It's more important to know who the person is that I'm interviewing today, because every day you're a different person. I think it's super unfair to just expect them to be who you've always known to be. It's like, nah.
How about bring that back up? That goes along the lines so beautifully of like, I heard a mentee or something, one of mine before say like, you know, we were just rapping and he was just like, you know, if people are expecting me to be what you depicted me, good luck. Good luck.
You should have been there for that day.
I didn't ask you to make me your role model. I didn't ask you to see me in whatever light you depict me in. All I'm asking of you is to respect my life's evolution. Nothing more, nothing less.
There you
That's
go.
how we feeling it. Interesting class.
That's a homemade cider right there.
What is today? Monday?
It's that Monday. That Mental Health Monday. Cheers. On a Monday.
Well, you know, I think it's a weird week altogether because we got this holiday in the middle of the week, right?
There's a holiday in the middle of the week?
Yeah, see, no one's talking about that part.
What holiday is in the middle of the week?
Rewire yourself. Veterans Day.
Veterans Day is in the middle of the week?
Wednesday.
It's Wednesday.
This was going through my mind, right? This was going through my mind as I'm thinking about today.
Are we just not aware of it because kids aren't in school? So we're
Everything.
usually more aware of like
you're already
holidays
home
when
at
kids are in
work
school.
and you already home, so you ain't really leaving the office.
That's wild.
You know, so
That's super different.
nice.
I try, man. I try.
How about a whole fruit in my cup right now?
Yeah. That's ginger right there. That's fresh ginger for you right there.
You know,
and that's you right there. That beef patty.
That's in my health contract a little bit of like
Really?
getting a lot of natural things in me always.
I never knew that.
You didn't even.
I never knew that. Cheers to that too. Yeah, I never knew at all. Appreciate that. Yeah, I feel like I got it right the first time.
It's like no pork, no chicken, no beef, none of that, brother.
Hey, Davon, hip, Davon.
Pleasure, man.
Yeah. I love being surrounded by my friends. It makes life so much easier when it comes time to do like important stuff right there. Yeah, you know, he just cool it. The look was like, man, I'm in my home getting this water.
Oh, yeah. I was standing on the top of the steps and I was like, oh shit.
Oh no, when I heard that, I knew that was like a perfect time for a transition for you to just go downstairs.
You brought, like the backup, so you don't have to stop and break to go get more of this, right? I hope.
I put it in the fridge to get it colder.
Okay.
Do you mind room temperature?
No,
okay.
Leave it how you got it.
Yeah, okay.
I mean,
All right.
this is your editor, I'm sure. So
Yeah. That's my guy. Yeah, everything we've ever done. He's been there for everything we've ever done. Like everything you've ever looked amazing on. That's him right there.
But toast to him though.
Yeah. Toast to Brooke. Toast to
even what I've been amazing on. Even the stuff that I just catch and pass. I get online.
Yeah.
And you got something because your content increase embellishment has been like superb. Let me just say that to you.
I appreciate that. That was on purpose.
Keep coming up, man.
Yeah, thank you.
I've been able to watch it kind of just from conversations a year or two ago to like I don't care what time of day I happen to just click my Instagram button, right there. And the funny thing about it is, it makes you watch it. Yeah. I don't know what you might be talking about. Yeah. I don't even care half the time. I'm just kind of like, what you doing now? And you got the music going on in the background, and you're bringing people into the experience, and the viewership just it looks like they appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'm like this brother putting out content.
And I really appreciate
time though, right?
Yeah. It's definitely appropriate. And what's funny is not only is me putting out so much more content intentional, the time placement, that's intentional. What I would like to cover, because it's very easy to overwhelm people with the same thing. And I don't want to do that. In order for them to learn, you got to mix
This is why I'm not on camera.
Yeah.
And it's a self-choice of why I yielded to your request.
I really appreciate that.
Because I said going into 2020, this was what I was going to do more of, because I'm a behind-the-scenes kind of guy.
Yeah.
Like my impact, I like to be macro, from an experiential experience.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna be able to take something I say because we were in each other's space, and it ain't just what I say.
Yeah.
How you felt.
Yes.
How we vibed. Because that, for me, that's when I think about who I take throughout my life with me, whether it's a nugget, whether it's an experience, whether it's a moment, it's because of that concoction.
Yeah.
It ain't something I read. You know, I laugh a lot of time. You could, to your point about the moment you were talking about earlier, with that guy, you can really pretty much sum up people where they are on the spot.
Yeah.
I don't really like that about life though, but it saves time, right?
It does.
Because most people aren't talking about those layers we just talked about, like your words, your energy, your nuggets.
Who you've shown me to be.
Yeah, the mask off, right? The mask off, and not that you're weighing one to hide anything in life, but more so of the comfortability.
Yeah.
Because it's almost equivalent to taking somebody out for drinks, right? Getting them nice, and you know the cliche is people going to show you who they are.
Yeah.
Because you can't control your unwill. Your unwill is your boogeyman, as I call them. That's behind the alcohol, behind the marijuana, behind whatever your vice is. Yeah. Your unwill has its own life, waiting and ready to be triggered.
It's been waiting all day.
all day, all week, all year.
Yeah.
Just because this is in a different time where, you know, I'm probably in the best shape of my life right now.
Yeah.
Just from a alcohol non-intake perspective. Like, you know, being in the city, happy hour socials, the norm.
Slow down.
You don't even know the damage you're doing to your body.
Yeah.
Just because it's so casual. You don't feel bad, you don't hurt anywhere.
And accessible.
Acceptable.
Yeah. Both of those.
Yeah.
Accessible and acceptable.
Yeah. That's the way of life around here. And just this year alone, like, you know, I don't drink at home. Just because I grew up with like people drinking at home around me, and I never understood that. But then when you start growing up, you realize like those conditions. I call them conditions now. Like were prisons for people. You know, people in my family, and life outside of that is foreign to them.
Okay, well, since we're here and you opened up the door,
I did.
Tell us about how you were raised and where you grew up.
That's a loaded question, my brother.
I mean, you could touch on it softly, you could touch on it heavy. Like, I'm good for the convo. We could even exchange. We could do comparisons of like parents, uncles, and aunts.
Well, we could just stay in the lane we started with Pandora just now. I think that will take. You know, the beautiful thing about even this conversation is like our similarities outweigh our differences.
Yeah.
One, just by race. Two, just by being black men.
Yeah.
And three, by living in the city.
Yeah.
So if you are what I call a survivor, you've been here 5+ more years. 10, you're doing it.
Yeah.
But if you're still here, thriving exceptionally.
Yeah.
When your mental health is always at stake, your place to find yourself in the world is always questionable.
Yeah.
Your self-worth is always up for reevaluation.
And tested. Yeah.
I value that piece that this is an open dialogue, not even for those things, for the things that we are to discover.
Yeah.
Because that's the place right there that even takes us to the next lane of like our own existence. I probably said my story 1,000 times. I probably haven't though, not collectively. But when I say it's a loaded question or a loaded direction, that's too much for me.
Yeah.
I feel you. Like,
and that's honesty.
What am I supposed to do with that? Like, where do you want to start? Like, and that's if this was a therapy session and I was getting therapy myself, like I a year program.
You know what's funny? When you said where would I want to start, I would honestly say just tell me about the name hip. That'd be it for me.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
Because obviously it's significant, right? So my name is Herman Isaac Pryor.
Okay.
So literally, it's not that dude is extra and cliche. Get him out of here. It's like I'm a junior, so being named that, I firmly believe life is no mistake. Where you're going in life is no mistake. You just have to tap into accepting that earlier.
Yeah.
That's what I did. I accepted the play on life earlier and said, I don't know what this is going to do, what's going to be for me. I don't know what it's going to mean. But when you talk about branding yourself, and becoming a brand, not just for the sake of putting value to it, but for the sake of leaving a legacy. That it's not attached to money. It's attached to experiences. So that's literally the precedent of hip. It's about hip, the word, right?
The word
playing
itself.
on being aligned to a cat that people will probably meet and can't really put into a place or a box. But the peculiarity of his essence is cool. And it's a vibe, and you might not know what it is. You got questions for days, I'm sure, but it's vibe enough that you're interested and intrigued. That's the hip factor, you know, of what I deem hip or cool in life is things that not only intrigue you, but you want to follow. You want to study. You want to, some people emulate, some people take a nugget or two because you can track, you know, hip is a thing. It's just there. It's just like the table is hip, or people say rad. Like that will never not be that. Once you kind of blessed it with that, boom, I feel like that's what life did to me. I didn't ask to be here. So it stamped me with my own brand from birth. The name itself broken down is, you know, has its own meanings that fortified the brand almost, in terms of even who I am to this day and why I'm still seeking out these pathways to become more of this willingly now. And I might have ran from it when I was younger. You ever seen a reflection of your profoundness, whether through conversation, whether through other people's lens telling you about yourself, and you might have been too immature and fearful to dive into it because you knew you could feel the truth behind it, and you're like, not right now.
I was home for a week in New Jersey for the first time in a decade. I've never been home in New Jersey for over, like, when I go for 2 days and I leave.
We'll get into that. You brought me into this couch. You brought me here. Okay?
And I've seen myself in the reflection of everyone so many different times in terms of who I was before, that time between, and who I am now. It's always funny to me because I have to remind myself I have to be gentle with these people in front of me because they don't realize it, but they're trying to learn who is he now.
You're foreign. It's the biggest, most depressing space to be in life, because your reality is that you had to accept is that you're foreign to the place that birthed you and quote unquote raised you. Not by intent, but by discovery. And you don't even know how foreign you are until you do go back and realize that you can't stay long because you're still dealing with your issues. And the issues are deep, you know. And these are the conversations. I don't know what people are having these or not. Maybe they're having it with their therapist. I don't know. But
if they got a therapist,
if they have a therapist, right? And if they don't, they're talking with their friends and pouring their hearts out. That's how people, as adults, I think that's how people become best friends, because you're like, well, you've given the world this, and you're letting me in here. Oh my gosh! Like,
this is
a proud space because everyone doesn't have access to that card. But even in your simple dialogue right now about the visualization of realizing and accepting the fact that you're an enigma, right? Essentially, I'm going to call these words the hard truths of what they are. You're an enigma that has to now recalibrate and accept the fact that your family sees you as an enigma. Which is the most hurtful thing ever. However, it gives you freedom.
It does.
And I'll speak to that a little bit about myself. Like, you know, I'm first generation everything in my family. You know, and you talk about the weight of the world. The peculiar piece to it all is that no one ever put pressure on me to do anything. Never.
That's, oh man.
Most will probably meet me and think that you might have came from an upbringing here. You might have had someone expecting this of you. It was the total opposite.
Yeah.
Because I had ultimate freedom. You know, my father wasn't there. He didn't raise me up until after like 9 or 10. My mother, it was 9 of us. You know, 7 of us living in the house with her. It was that freedom that made me seek out structure.
Okay.
I was longing for structure, not in the way of like needing somebody to put their hands on me or beef me up and man me up. More importantly, it just was like the normal stuff that I thought everyone was supposed to have.
And also, you saw the price of that particular freedom.
The price of that was going to be dangerous if I did not mature early enough to say, what is life really about?
Yeah.
You know, I grew up in a space where, you know, I got drugs around me, and you know, I'm in the South, so you know, it's the Southern ways of things, and it's the Black family ways of things, and you know, there isn't a lot of conversation around college, and there isn't, because you know, there's no examples. You know, there isn't conversations around strong marriages. There aren't any examples. You know, there isn't conversation. The essence of family is there, but more so about people getting along to get along. Because this is all the family you really got.
We all we got.
And so you're going to make it work whether you like people or not, because that's your cousin. Or that's your brother. Make it work. It's a beauty in that too, though, because as you get older, you learn like, it is what it is. You know, but you can find new nuances in the people that you're related to. Like you just said, going back and seeing yourself in these different people and why they're in your life. See that part. Not, you know how. Right? You don't pick your family, but why they're there. And everyone has a role to play. And it gets more beautiful actually as you get older because you have overcommon sense now. You've been out, you've seen the world. You don't have to lie to yourself anymore. You don't have to lie to them anymore. You're not doing that dance of like, do I make myself or my family proud, or am I shaming them? A lot. That's like last decade, right? This decade is about like realizing that you're older and, you know, let's say if your family members are still stagnant or you know, in spaces that you've obviously evolved to or from. Having those conversations, you know, I get a lot of misconception about me personally because I think.
Do you?
I do.
I think you do a great job of being honest in moments.
It's not everyone's cup of tea.
Okay.
Let me say that.
Okay.
Right? Because my honesty is really kind of it's kind of like I'm sitting in it because I'm learning while I'm sitting in it. So I'm like, bring the ambiguity on, baby, right? At the same time, it's just like I'm relying on experience, and I'm open to tomorrow. And I'm in that constant space always. That can be a lot for some people because it presents a certain risk factor to me that isn't a cup of tea if you're not that personality type, right? Or it could present the other side of like a well-oiled painted picture with no flaws. Because the curation of what I might be saying or the package that's presented or whatever light that you see me in will just help you paint a picture that I didn't authorize. All right? That's your reality for me. I've had some of my mentees tell me recently, like, you know, I was out in Atlanta for my birthday and one of my mentees I've known for like 10 plus years, he met me out for brunch, whatever, and we were talking. He was just like, I was like, man, why it's been so long since I've seen you? He was like, yo, you know, I had to just make sure my stuff was together before I see you again, brother. And I was just like,
what's that supposed to
I'm like four mimosas in right now at this point, right? Because I'm just kind of like, I could tell he meant no disrespect, but it's awkward for me to hear because I'm like, you can be you with me, bro. Like you can. I've seen you in your developmental stages. Like
you don't have to prepare for me.
But that spoke volumes to me in terms of like how I needed to just put the light back, keep the flashlight with batteries in it, and do some of this more often. Not to change anything. But to be aware of the pulse.
Not for you.
Because for me, there ain't no slowing down really. Whatever presentation you meet. That's like at the place you met it, and it can be in a whole different place when you see it again. I speak to that when I say that to consistency. So practicing an air of consistency that is translated sometimes for arrogance, maybe miscommunicated as knowing it all, perfection, which are all crazy spaces that I don't even understand who lives there.
Because it's just, that's too much.
But I do believe, you said something important a second ago, I do believe in presentation.
Yeah.
Being from the South, being from a real family with real problems, real debt, real issues, and some of the other things I mentioned, you get to really sit and look at that as like, all right, what are my options? You know, you can really say, that ain't it. You know, and I was blessed with that opportunity, like to really look at, you know, some fallacies that some of my siblings might have found themselves into. And, you know, my oldest brother, he was killed. He was he was a drug lord, essentially, down in South Carolina, and got killed at 19 from the game, you know?
My condolences.
Appreciate it. Had that reality. I'm 11, right? So seeing my older siblings deal with that not so well and start deteriorating, I'm looking at that like, okay.
You're starting to see the in-between spaces.
Right, and then I'm realizing I'm growing up. You know, I'm realizing that I remember being like 12 or 13, having to just take school serious for myself. Yeah. Because there isn't like a push at home to say, my mom would be like, you better go to school. She went to truancy officer coming, right?
And you're thinking like, was that supposed to be the structure of the sentence?
But you know what?
Yeah.
For her reality, right? Because this is what we find out too when we get older. Like, we got to go back and relearn their story. Yeah. As young adults, as adults with children, and then have some new empathy. Yeah. To have new love for your family, almost. That piece you talked about a minute ago.
And they don't bring it up. You have to ask.
You have to ask if you're bold enough. Because you got to really want to care.
I've become quite bold.
Well, because this is your identity. Yeah. See, that's the other part that's like, it ain't just I want to know stuff. It's like, I'm looking at the picture of me in my life, and, you know, my mom is in 60 now. Yeah. And I remember putting the pieces of her puzzle together and realized like she had her first kid at like 16 going on 17. You know, never knew her father. So that's a whole nother side of my life and family. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's a fight you weren't there for also. Yeah.
You know, because when you're being raised, she's in survival mode. Yeah. You know, and realize a lot of the things that she did in terms of keeping the roof over our head, keeping food on the table, however she did that. Those are the conversations, right? Yeah. Because I think about my own life right now. Some things I just ain't gonna do. Yeah. Or some spaces and scenarios I just can't like allow my life to fall to. Yeah. When it's dog eat dog. Like, I got these kids. Yeah. And they gotta eat, and that's the space we're in. So I'm looking at all these things. You know, I used to get so frustrated, wondering why. Like, my mother, she didn't work, so I was always figuring out like, why aren't you like everybody else parents doing X, Y, Z? So she had to learn the game, how to survive fast, and how to do that with the resources that were available to her.
With no mentors.
No mentors, no daddy,
gone through it before.
No mama, you know.
The structure not there. Just wherever
just
she can get it.
Just a woman willing to risk tomorrow.
Yeah, every day.
Every day.
Every day.
That's where I get my will from. Yeah. See, the will to not know, but do. Yeah. And that sometimes turned into a different song for people because they don't know where that comes from. Yeah. You may see me in one space. You met me here doing this. Yeah. You may catch up 3 years later. I'm Zenith 3 times over doing some other things. Yeah. Because that's my survival mechanism. Yeah. I only know how to keep going. Yeah. Yeah. You know? I only know how to not succumb to a space that I watch my family try to evolve from. You know, that wasn't their prescribed reality, but mom just got to survive.
Yeah, and that's what they were dealt across the board.
And she did what she had to do, because on the flip side of that, we can gripe about, you know, where we come from, what we have, what we don't have, who our parents are, what we would love to see. Again, when you get older, though, you realize how that could have been you. In that same situation, it's kind of like, well, damn, how did she do that?
Yeah. And presentation for your life right now has become such a big focus for other people, but for you, you're not presenting, you are moving through.
Say it for the people in the back.
And it's ironic.
I don't think I can say it.
Yeah, no, it's
eloquent.
It's ironic because like I think when I called you, did I tell you about what my cousin had said? Like, And it's amazing that you went through that, because like as soon as you said that, I thought about her phone call of like, hey D, you're doing such a great job, I didn't know I can call you. And it's just like background information. She makes probably 3 times more money than I've ever made per year. She has closest to her most ideal life, except for a couple of pieces here and there, but it's what most people on the other side would want. And for her to feel that way about me, I'm like, you shouldn't feel that way. Like, I admire you because we're family and you raised me. You're a part of who I am now. And for you to think I'm this cool guy and I do all these great things, it's like, it's nice, but no matter the amount of likes or views I get on Instagram, that doesn't change our relationship because we're still family. Like, that doesn't take it away.
You had to say that to her.
I did. I had to do the whole breakdown. And then, like, when you said about the whole, I had to get ready, it's funny because, like, you remember, I called her. Like, when I didn't get that text in 5 minutes, I was like, nah, what's up? What's good? Let's talk. And then I'm finding out all this stuff between surgeries, taking care of herself, everything else. And I'm just like, we family. Like, you should never feel that way, but no, this is what life is.
It's even worse than that.
Yeah.
That's one conversation you were able to salvage by putting yourself in a space. What about the conversations that don't happen?
Yeah.
You know, it's you know, I got a lot of mentees, right? And these are willing mentees for me to have an outlet and for them to get whatever I want to give to them, right? And they give me a sense of peace because, you know, they're the little brothers that I would have loved to have had because they are trying to push.
Yeah.
When my blood brothers that I'm still pushing and pouring into to this day, taking their increments.
Yeah.
You know, but fighting life at the same time too, and it's just kind of like, you know, I got the blueprint for you, but I had to accept the fact that they got to do their own walk, and as men, I have to let them.
Yeah.
You know, regardless of how it looks or feel or whatever the case is, because that's what I would want for myself.
Yeah.
See, this is the growing up part where, to your cousin's point, it's not about the depiction of what's seen. You know, it's these dynamics that are not seen or even known about sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, like your situation or even me coming to peace as a grown man with the beauty of my situation, because it's poetic.
Which is beautiful.
It's poetic.
It's very beautiful.
It's a sense of pride and, you know, having a mother that was willing to just be there despite.
Yeah.
You know, I had a father. You know, we got our own dynamics. You know, I know who he is. I know where he is. You know, but there's just not the same connection because, like, my mother, like, she didn't give us up for adoption. She could have. There was a lot of us. Yeah. 9. You know, there was a lot of us.
Well, 7.
7 that were still in the house when, you know, I was still like a teenager growing up, and I thought about all the things that she could have easily chosen to do. Yeah. Saying like, I'm good, and roll out. Something kept her there. I would say it's her faith.
Yeah.
Right. To be quite real with you, that's one of the things that she tried to make sure that she gave us. So in addition to the hereditary of survival mode that I inherited, right? There's also this faith piece as well. Yeah. That's its own beast. Because now you can scrape any scenario away from yourself, whatever you're going through, how you're going through it, tie a little bit of that to it, and it's night and day. Yeah. And again, but that looks different from the outside. It does. It's just, for most, it looks like winning. You know, you're just winning when you, in the fate mode, you're recalibrating. Yeah. Like, you know, I'll go through a high and low, and I went through a high and low when I sat down on your couch tonight. Yeah. In 2 minutes.
You did.
While mentally thinking about being blessed on one hand and not to worry about those menial things that try to intercede my evening of flowing the way I would have loved it to, but immediately taking all that weight off and saying like, but I'm good though. Yeah. I'm here, I'm safe, I'm healthy, I got here, my family's home safe. You get back to that real quick. My mother taught me that though. Yeah. Like, you know, if the light's about to get cut off, she didn't flinch. Yeah. She did not flinch.
She taught you, it's like,
she didn't flinch. You know, she didn't go to that place of worrying. You know, she's her own Bible scholar. She's heavy into, you know, her Christian roots, if you will. But it was beautiful to take some of those tenets from her, never knowing how I would need it in my adult life.
What's your favorite quote from the Bible? Not even top 5, just off the top of the head. When I asked, that was the first thing that came to mind.
Be anxious for nothing.
Okay.
Be anxious for nothing. I had to go to a number one. Is that one? There's several others, but that's the one that comes to mind.
Top 7.
It comes to mind because it keeps me on both sides of the fence.
Yeah.
I'm the kind of person that I'm going to go hard.
Yes.
And I'm going to make it look effortless.
Yes, you do. You do. I've seen it. You do. You do.
Because I have my own philosophy of like 24/7. That's kind of like the hip model of getting stuff done. Like most people operate on a 24-hour day.
Yeah.
I operate on 24/7. I gift myself 7 more hours to be okay about grinding at 2, 3, or 4, or 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And not seeing it as I'm tired, but rearranging how I view rest and how I view things to get what I need out of it.
Yeah.
So if the world is sleeping, I'm moving.
Yeah.
And not necessarily just being busy, like I'm setting up the next month or the next week, or making a move happen that I'm sowing a seed somewhere, faith piece. I'm sowing a seed into something, and I'm going to go to sleep on that. And when I get up, the sun will be up. Yeah, it'll be a new day, but things are growing already.
Yeah.
Seeds have been planted while, there could be an air of worrying or stress that I could easily choose. But I don't. Like, I don't even believe in stress. It sounds crazy, right? But I just don't. When I say don't believe, I don't subscribe.
Yeah.
It is evident, obviously. People tell me all the time about stress.
It's not about facts in that case.
But I don't say that out loud a lot because that will offend somebody. To be quite honest with you, me saying that because it makes me seem like I'm immortal.
And a lot of people are more quick to conflict instead of understand that person's piece too. So I can get that. Yeah.
I said immortal. This is the stuff I go through. For the most part, I'm just her. But like, because of literally some of my mental structures, how I go about my day, it separates me from church and state sometimes because I'm not choosing to do the day-to-day beat of kind of what man chooses to allow themselves to be a part of. I just refuse to do it.
Yeah.
I don't believe in stress, and what that means is that we got problems, we got issues that come up, we go through things, but I'm a solution-oriented guy.
Yeah.
I'm a solution-seeking person, actually. So I don't even need the outcome yet or the pathway.
Yeah.
Issue, what are my options?
Journey.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing, and I choose not to live in the spaces that causes my physical being or internal being to be out of whack. I want no depression because you have to allow yourself to go through that place.
Yeah.
How you go to that place is either accepting or finding yourself there, because it can creep up on you.
Yeah.
But if it does find you, you still have an option to curate some pathways to work your way out. I'm not gonna say get right out of it because that ain't real. We all go through forms of depression, whether they're great or small. But some of us have the capability to switch the light switch on and off and be like, shake and move. Now, that's not always the best remedy either, because if you're not strong enough mentally, all you're doing is putting it under the rug for a bigger blow up later.
Yeah, and that makes the fatigue greater.
What I mean in terms of no stress is I just don't allow it into my space.
Yeah.
Like,
it's there.
I am in a state of constant reflection.
Okay.
Being from some of what I just said about where I'm from, some of the barriers that I overcome and still overcoming.
Yeah.
Being able to have a starting point to say, I remember being 15 years old here, and being in my 30s here, and it's like night and day, and I can't even tell you how I got here. Now, I can say I worked for it to get there, but I still live in a space always of gratefulness that I don't believe my own hype. I don't subscribe, and this is just me telling right now on myself of like what's going on inside of me. That show Herman's Head? Remember that show Herman's Head?
It sounds familiar.
It was an old show back in the early 90s, mid 90s, but it was like white guy talked himself in his head, had a whole pilot in his head.
I remember that actually. Yeah.
I'm living that now to the point where I go through this stuff. I gotta like literally get done with what I'm doing, come back and hit play again to kind of see what the experience just was, because I am not connected to the experience while going through it.
You're walking through it later. And it's funny? Well, not funny. Observation for me. You've always been talented at keeping your shoulders relaxed. And I've always wondered about that. Because like, I get tight. And when I get tight, this whole thing goes up. And it's like, nah. Whatever it is that you got going on, you got to let it go, deal with it later. Yeah. And that's why your shoulders are high and you got to lower those. Because your body disposition and how you hold yourself is so important.
think about this vessel.
Mm-hmm.
You know, think about like what happens when you do that.
Yeah.
I do this when it's winter time outside, naturally, and it's cold, and I can't help it. I remember last night I put my shoulders down. And I'm like, why are you cringing, bro?
Yeah.
Because physically that hurt.
Yes.
So crunch up like I got bat wings, and I'm gonna be in this position for a minute. So part of this is like, again, going back to upbringing, finding myself into a space of becoming a therapist. Right? But this is the stuff, right? This is the stuff that's already kind of pre-authored a little bit. You just choose to walk in it or not. Like I've firmly subscribed to the notion that all of us have a pre-designed pathway in life that has nothing to do with us.
Yes.
It's already set. The magic is made. You literally just have to keep your eyes open well enough and your ears open long enough to like stumble upon it.
Yeah.
And if you catch it, then you will be connected to that thing that was made for you.
Yeah.
But you can miss it by trying to create and curate pathways that are not yours.
Yeah. I remind myself that it's about the room. It's not about me. It's about the room. Once you understand the room, you'll understand your role in that room, if there's a role for you, because I don't think everyone has a role, and that's okay to not have a role in that room.
Your role could be just being in the room.
Yeah.
But see, that's a different kind of discipline that is learned.
Yeah.
Because we live in a society right now that, you know, everything is. Everything is immediate. Everything is now. Everything is, I need to feel the levels to know it's real.
Yeah.
Instead of understanding almost a sense of Buddhism, right? Of silence.
And how much the conditioning
Pace.
is. Yeah.
Stillness.
Yeah.
Appreciating that today I was in the room. Tomorrow someone called my name. Next week they had a placemat with my name on it. The following week that placemat was moved to the head of the table.
Yeah.
And just teaching the authoring of time in that whole example right there. See, that is a condition that we don't really have as a training ground in life.
Yeah.
It's no one's fault. It's 21st century. You know, everything is now.
Yeah.
You know, so I kind of subscribe to a lot of the olden ways. It sounds very Paul Bunyan-ish to say. But it saves my life.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you hear the cliche about old souls. And I've met a lot of old souls in my life that I know get what I mean by that. It's just like, you know, instead of me trying to be the voice in the room, I'm going to pace and pulse the room.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to feel the vibrations. I don't even want to hear what people have to say, really. I want to, like, getting that in tune to life, to the point where you get into a room and the energies are having a conversation. And you never open your mouth to anyone in that space, but you left there so informed.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel you.
So that's a whole nother layer and leveling of, again, me growing up in a space where I'm talking to myself all the time, because the things that I'm seeing as normal or things that I'm desiring is not in my immediate realm to grasp. Like, you know, I'm growing up, you know, I'm growing up, you know, with the wholeness of having a family. You know, I have my siblings, my sisters and brothers. We grew up in love, man. We grew up, you know, we never had a moment of not having an audience.
Yeah.
Stage play.
Yeah.
Race pals down the street, racing track. You know, anything we wanted to do, we had an entourage.
Even those to critique you.
Boom.
Yeah.
Right? And, you know, those things fade when you get older, but it's like having that taught me how to assess myself.
Yeah.
Before anyone else needed to do that for me. Again, I turned that into a career path, right? Because
which is now
and continuing, like literally, and all the things that I do, it's still those abilities to use those homegrown skills about being in the room and not being seen, even if you're in the room.
Yeah.
Because it's not your time to be seen in that room.
Yeah.
You know, having to feel like you're small. Having to feel like someone else's issues of themselves reflected upon you as your fault.
Yeah.
You know, having to just wait to see time pass for you to touch what you need, for you.
And that's a crazy game.
See?
Yeah.
See? And it is a game and most people don't know it's a game.
Yeah.
Some people accept it as their real life, and it's a vicious cycle happening, cyclical of highs and lows. And some of us just realize that it's a lot of work, and I'm good on that. You know,
that's
I'm
why
not subscribing.
That's why I remind everyone that I work with in all facets, whether it be Under the Table, Mental Health Monday and Get Home Safe, or Black Business Wednesday, we can only do this because it's fun. As long as it's fun, we are fine because we are enjoying what we're doing. Once we lose that fun, it's okay to say we've done enough and move forward, because the fun is what brings you back to it. The fun is what you remember. The fun is what makes you want to take whatever you're creating and working on to the next level, because there's enjoyment in that process.
Yeah. No, there's some other buttons there.
Of course.
You know, because there are other buttons there, that's the space I'm finding myself wanting to go to.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm on a quest right now to meet people where they are.
Yeah.
If they're willing.
Yeah.
That's a heavy loaded statement. Right?
It is. But it's important.
It's so important because we're losing a sense of connection.
Yeah.
And it's already harder to get through the first primary, secondary, and tertiary individual to get into the space with the person.
Yes.
In today's society.
Yeah.
So like it's been a desirement of mine to just kind of meet the person. But that you can't just do that. I'm fortunate.
Yeah.
Just in my space, I think me being me to allow comfort in my engagements.
Yeah.
Like whether you know me or not, like you matter to me.
Yes.
Sounds crazy, sounds cliche, but anyone that meets me or sit with me, that's the vibe you're gonna get. It's just like I'm literally interested in you, who you are, and what you have going on.
Your actions and dispositions have matched that. I've seen it plenty of times. And that's not because we work together. That's because I'm one who observes those around me and what's good for what I would like the world to be.
It's heavy for some though.
It is.
It's a space of vulnerability too.
It is.
You know, those folks that I've been able to connect with at that level, they're like my keepsakes in real life. Like a special people in a special place. Yeah. Because in this world, you aren't getting that on the regular.
You're not.
So if you have those pebbles, jewels, if you will, it's I curate my relationships personally because that's all I want you to feel. Like I don't care what you got going on in your life. Yeah. I don't care where you've been, how you did it, when you did it. Yeah. Who you are, what you are. Like that ain't it for me. Yeah. I value sitting in this space with a person, present space with a person, because tomorrow can look totally different. Yeah. Not just like you could be dead, right? But as we're going through our journey in life, this is what it's all about.
It is.
Everything else is like Monopoly. Yeah. It's the game of Monopoly, man. Yeah. Get work, make money, figure it out, provide for yourself, put shelter, food, shelter, rest, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right?
Yeah, and that's the cover of the yearbook.
Right, but those depth relationships, man, that for me it would be better than winning the lottery. And the lottery is very important for some, will be for me as well. It will do some great things for me.
It would change things.
It would change some things real quick. But the pricelessness to connecting, the value add to connecting without needing to know your whole past life. Starting where we are, and then curating the experience from here on out. Just like I met you a couple years ago. Yeah. Plan to know you probably until I'm an old man, right? Because we have to start valuing the fact that, like, there are some day ones out there that you just keep in the pocket, but the reality is everybody's evolving. Yeah. I personally expect my day ones to evolve.
Yeah, and shift and move.
And it's like, we don't have to switch up on each other. Yeah. But we shouldn't hold each other prisoner from growing.
Yeah, not at all.
And I think we do that sometimes. Yeah. Because part of our own fear of accepting the change and then accepting the imbalance that might come from that. Like your man might shine. Yeah. Double time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Your ex might be winning this season. And that self-reflection, that I call it the mirror look around everything that you got to do when you're coming and going, you might not be happy about it. Are you going to be pivot oriented in that moment to say, like, I'm happy for them and keep on what you're doing? Yeah. Or do you sit in that and become depressed? Yeah. Because if the truth was told, I think that there's a lot more of both happening, really. But people aren't gonna. Someone said a cliche. No one's gonna post their failures, right? No one's gonna post their failures. And if you think about it, that is our reality.
Yeah, and that's across the board for everyone.
You know, no, it's a double-edged sword though, right? You don't want to be on social media reading depressed stuff. You don't want to be depressed from things that should be, you know, we've gotten to be in an upliftment society, which is beautiful.
Yeah.
There's a lot of damage going on in the world that we can recon for anybody that's trying to pour positivity into the world.
Unacknowledged damage at that too.
But is it doing us good or bad?
Yeah. Yeah. And there's no right answer for that. Especially being brave enough in the cases of what you're speaking on to tear down the fantasies we've created for the people that came up with us compared to who they are now, and being able to not only accept it but cheer that person for who they're willing to become and what they need, because it's not about us in a lot of cases.
Brother, that's a lot. I need another round. Because it's so heavy. It's so heavy because one of the things I long in the world as I'm learning myself, my own self, and I push myself to this on my own of like trying to be just real talk, authentic with me first.
Yeah. Which is most important.
Something, right?
Yeah, that's most important for everything you do.
When I connect with someone else, I can stay that person.
Yeah.
And not have to shapeshift.
Yeah.
You know? What was that show that I used to love? True Blood?
True Blood.
Huh? Can we talk some True Blood? You taking a shot?
You want to take a shot with us? All right, cool.
I don't toast that. I'm just glad. Oh,
no. Cheers to True Blood. True Blood was the cheers. You don't got to sip on this one. It's just True Blood. No, I was gonna say make another one right now.
Yeah, True Blood was the joint, but that show had so many messages in it.
It really did.
Like,
and it came across.
Yeah.
Certain people got it, and those who didn't, there was like a little chuckle in the room for everybody else. Like, oh, you ain't get that? That's crazy. That was right there in front of you.
Anything that's satire or quick in comedy or things like that, like you have to be somewhat wired.
Yeah.
To pick up things.
All right, that's you right there. That's your glass. That's your cheers. I hope you enjoyed that beef patty. You know, that's you right there. You see how my man crushed? He did that real silent.
What he said it was though.
Yeah. You see the crumbs on the plate, man. That's a real one right there.
I believe it, man.
I'm really glad you like the homemade cider, by the way.
This is it.
Yeah, I haven't made this all year.
Y'all thought Michael Jackson's movie was it. This is it. And I was a little worried about the tequila. Let me tell you something. You're making my Monday night. I might get some work.
I got more in the freezer.
We're going to be here for a minute. But nah, man, I think this is a beautiful time right now.
It is.
You know, and I'm going to be the first one to say, like, you know, it's definitely not about me. I think it's important, even in having this opportunity, to talk about some depths of me that I've never shared.
Yeah.
You know, even some things I said previously about my family that, you know, let you know when you don't know.
Yeah.
You know, it's so bad to the point where people who I grew up with in my neighborhood and went to school with, you know, I got a sister that's a year and 4 months younger than me. She was always on my pant leg, right?
Yeah.
She was like, "Oh, bro, you ain't about to leave me nowhere." Right? And we still like this to this day. But when we were in high school, middle school, high school, they saw her. Well, they saw me. They saw her, and it was just thinking for the longest time because of how we carried ourselves. See, this was the craziest shit ever. Yeah. How we carried ourselves to that whole presentation piece. Everyone just thought we were just two of us. And we would go home to that same house with our siblings out of there and laugh about this shit. Like, we turned a situation that would be like detriment or sad, somber, whiny for most people who, I guess, don't grow up with a spoon in their mouth to want a better life. We turn that into...
It will break certain people.
Our survival of like, what can we do?
Yeah.
Matter of fact, the freedom we have to be anything we want to be.
Yeah, your survival is your challenge. Like, okay, now that I'm here, how do we take this up and what do we do with it?
Pretty much. Yeah. You know, I was 16 years old. I went to like a high school that was like half and half, more PW white than half and half though. Now this is me coming from being 12. We moved from inner city to the suburbs. So I went from...
When you say inner city, what inner city was that?
So I'm from North Charleston, South Carolina originally.
Okay.
And so inner city you had like back in the 90s, you had like in the 80s and 90s, you had like the drugs, you had like the thefts, you had like just the bang bang city stuff that would be equivalent to probably where you from. Yeah, you know what I mean? From the South.
Yeah, carjacking capital.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's just this is how it goes.
Yeah.
Growing up, seeing all black people in my elementary schools and the middle school I started at, to my mother decided one day, now this is the same mother I'm talking about who was in survival mode, but she had this thing about her where she was creating her own reality. I didn't even know it growing up.
You had to.
But again, as you're going through it, growing up, I didn't understand. Like we grew up in the inner city. I hit about 12, and I'm third oldest, so I hit about 12, and she's like on housing assistance and stuff like that, right? She's like, no, we're gonna move out to like this area called Latson, and there's a 4-bedroom house I'm looking at. So she's like, regardless of her situation,
speaking it.
Yeah, she's like,
she's reaching for it.
Yeah. Like she's like, no, I'm gonna get that garage. We're gonna move. Like she's like, this is what we're gonna do.
Yeah, and it was always we, not me. We are going to do this. The collective, and that's important because you remember that and you hear that.
I did remember that, and she did it.
Yeah.
And we went from, so I went from all black to all white.
Yeah.
And so it was a culture shock for me. But this is what started to open my eyes probably to my blueprint, literally. Being able to dance in all worlds. Well.
And being better on the forefront instead of just behind the scenes.
Catching up, you know, doing all the things, not knowing, oh gosh, I gotta go back and recreate that. Because you can't recreate it, right?
Yeah.
This gave me that push for the things that I didn't even know I was gonna be dealing with or having to use as fuel or a tool to make it.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
You know, as a black man. You know, moving to the suburbs of the South, if you will, and now I'm in a neighborhood full of just like white people, and I'm going through it. I'm 12 and I'm going through it. I'm walking around the neighborhood like,
transition.
Please, somebody, where are you? Trying to find my new black friend. Like, getting to that middle school, and it's like, what do I do with this? But I was an internal person back then. Like I really wasn't like.
So on the outside, you were just calm. Cool,
yeah, still.
You know,
inside, I'm going through it.
Yeah.
Because I knew I had to survive. Again.
What did you do with that energy? Was there energy to do anything with, or was it just like all upstairs and you were like, okay, well, I guess this is what we're doing now?
So I have like other factions in me that has nothing to do about the work I'm doing today, right? That really makes me the expressive person that I am. So I'm a vocalist as well, right?
Okay.
So back then, writing songs, you know, I'm 14, 15-year-old in the South, trying to, I guess, do education because that's supposed to be important. That's what you're supposed to do. You know, I was a dare kid growing up, so you know, get smart, stay smart. You know, all that stuff impacted me in a great way. And that stuff was in my family. So it's like I'm always living in this double-edged sword, bro. Like they're trying to teach us not to do this stuff, but this stuff is in my house, in my realm, like accessible, and there's no. You know, from 12 to 17, there's no real influence.
Yeah.
You know, I grew up...
Except for the choices you made.
Except for the choices I made, and except for a praying mama.
Yeah.
Real facts.
Yeah.
Who taught us about, like I said, faith. She was in church all day, every day, taught us about faith. He took the nuggets from me she needed, but like, I lacked influence.
Yeah.
I lacked seeing that. You know, I would say if I had gotten a little bit more influence, hands-on in my youth, I wouldn't be sitting here to this day, bro. I'll probably be a dual citizen somewhere, to be real with you, because my mind would have taken me there.
Yeah.
You know.
And you can still go there.
I still have plans.
Yeah.
Right?
You can still go there.
But I'm saying, like, there's no mistake made in life about our past. But I think about, like, even raising another young black man now. And...
You guys are beautiful together, by the way.
I appreciate it, brother. What he will have that I'm ready to give to him, actually. That's the other part. Not being in a situation where I'm grudgeful. I'm spite. I'm mad.
Like, oh, I could have had this
right.
Nah.
It's like I just look at him and smirk like you don't even understand what you about to be getting into.
He busy working on the popcorn, man.
I'm allowing him to be a kid right now.
Yeah,
you know, but
that's important.
I have some markers established for him already that he doesn't even have. But what he's showing me right now already is that he's gonna be ready because he don't let up. Yeah, like his wit, all that is. He's only 3 years old, but he getting 5 and 6 because he's a little tall. But it's like. He's matching that with, you know, his 3-year-old personality. Like, He's only child right now, so he's hip as well. Figuratively, and I gave him the initials hip also.
Okay,
so
okay.
He's like my version of my junior. But I'm watching him and I'm getting excited about the day he was born. I said, like, I felt literally when they pulled him out, the balance of power shift.
Yeah.
And I accepted it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't hard, but I was very aware of it because I could easily say and be mad and be upset and hold an unbeknownst grudge against my son that he didn't do anything about because of what I didn't have and how he was going to be set up, if you will, because my heart is like, I'm not making kids in this world. How do you? That's another day. Yeah. How do you procreate and just not love your seed that came from your body? That's one of the best, beautiful things that we can create in this world, other than planting a tree. Creating something that becomes healthy and grows into something, and not love it. So I knew that I was going to do those things anyway. So he's going to just get the good end of the stick. But I just realized in that moment, like, I just said, I just accepted it. Like, I felt it. It was like, it's his time. Not that I was done with anything, or I'm turning off the lights.
There's still more to come.
There's more to come, but it's in a way of like, I have to do duality now. I gotta show him, and prepare him. You know, it's a heavier lift, but it's an honor for me, man. To be quite honest with you, it's an honor because it could be totally different. I could not have been blessed to be in this situation, you know, and I don't take it for granted at all.
I can tell.
You know, there's a lot of people out there that want children. There's a lot of men out there that want to be better fathers. There's a lot of men out there that wanted their fathers. You know, that's another conversation. And we're still in this
touching on a lot today,
because
man.
this is.
But that's the reality.
I met a guy 3 weeks ago at my son's soccer game. Dr. Carlos.
Same one you told me about.
Dr. Carlos. What's his name?
I know he's a great speaker.
Dr. Carlos Moore. I think that's his name.
Okay.
Renowned educator, you know, out there doing this thing, but you talk about meeting a soul that I don't even know you. And we talk about a couple of hours at the soccer game, and we are flowing. That's what I'm saying to you. And this brother is just so with it, and to the point where I not only was impressed, no reason to be impressed, but it's just like I'm impressed for the air of him. Whatever made him who he is, his ordinance with the gift and the power of that thing, the calculation of it and the curation of it. I can tell he actually takes that thing and he bevels it and he massages it and he grows it. And so that rarely happens to me, that I'm taken back. And I got to see on the other side that people probably experience when they're with me.
And it's nice to see awareness. It's very nice to see awareness outside of just yourself.
You being nice saying that it's nice, brother. It's like, that's the lottery for me. That's the lottery for me. Like.